Hello everyone and welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel. I asked you guys over on Instagram for some questions so I could film a little get ready with me, and I did this makeup look here while answering some of your questions in this video today. Honestly, I went a little bit heavy with the makeup today, so not my normal makeup, I'm just not doing anything, so I went a little bit in. I think I was just getting really into the questions, but anyway, so I'm gonna stop rambling now, take you back about an hour. I will be looking very, very different in the next few clips, but yeah, stick around and you will see how I did this makeup and hopefully learn a little bit more about me. So I'm probably looking slightly more bare than I did in the first clip. But yeah, I'm gonna get started and go ahead and read some of the questions out that you guys have asked me. And I need to make my face look a little bit better, I think. Better's not the word, just more made up. I'm literally gonna do full beat for absolutely no reason at all. I just thought, why not? I've got nothing to do. And I never ever do my makeup properly anymore. I do not remember the last time I wore eyelashes. I don't know whether I will stick them on today. We'll have to see. So I always stick my eyebrows down at first before I do my skincare, because I just always find that it helps to stick your eyebrows down before you do anything on your face, because your brows need to be dry for them to stick. So I'm just using my Bare Brows by Unicorn Cosmetics. As you can see, this is very, very loved. So the first question I'm going to answer is, did you ever bed share with Alfie? Did I? Or do I? So I remember when I first had Alfie, I was like, I will never put him in the bed. It's really dangerous. And don't get me wrong, in quite a lot of circumstances, there have been a number of fatalities due to bed sharing and co-sleeping. However, there are actually safe ways to do it. I think there is a safe explanation on the NHS website, so if it is something that you are interested in looking into, definitely have a look on there and find out the best way to practice safe sleep. I'm just going to quickly whiz over with my skincare because I haven't done that yet, so I need to do that before I do any skin makeup. I said at the beginning when I first had Alfie that I was not going to be co-sleeping at all, and my mum had me in the bed until I was 12, because by the time that she'd actually got me into a routine and I was sleeping with her every single night, I didn't want to leave. So I always said, no, that will never be me. I will never do that with my kids. Here I am, co-sleeping every single night. We are very, very, very safe with it. We have looked into everything that you need to do. I never let him sleep where he can be covered by a pillow or anything. I literally scrunch my pillow up against my bedside table just so he doesn't accidentally fall under it. You don't know what is going to happen, and sleep is unpredictable, so I understand why it is such a danger. However, in saying that, I just feel like it's such a natural thing. If we were in the wild and we never conformed to everything that we have developed into, like if we never evolved, I think we would obviously still be sleeping with our babies in the wild like other animals do. I think it's unrealistic to expect every single mother to just put their baby in a cot, and when they're crying or when you're really, really stressed and you just need to sleep and you're overtired, I think it's unrealistic for every single mother to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna deal with this. People deal with things in different ways. So I have tried sleep training many times and it just doesn't seem to work. And I'm not saying I'm gonna do it forever, but especially where we all share a room, I just find it really, really difficult to try and soothe him while Charlie's asleep, and then Charlie's got work, and I just end up putting him in the bed because, as well, selfishly, I love the cuddles. I really, really do. But yeah, so in answer to your question, yes, we do bed share more often than not every single night, but we are very, very safe with it, and I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong with it as long as you are educated in the safe ways to sleep next to your baby. I'm just going to put some powder over my brows, just because otherwise I feel like they're a little bit too shiny and it's easier to put my brow pen on top when they have powder on top of them. It's just started raining, so I'm really sorry if you can hear the rain as well, but I can't control the weather. What have you found the most difficult while parenting? Oh god, I can't open this pen. So I think it depends on what stage of parenting you're talking about. I mean, there are many different stages. Pretty much every month is a new stage at the moment. But for me, if I was talking just in stages, the newborn stage was so hard. And I know some people are like, oh, well, you have a newborn and then they become toddlers and that's the hardest stage, you don't know what you're in for. For me, I don't know what can be much worse than the newborn stage. The sleep deprivation, the constant breastfeeding because of cluster feeding, just everything about it was so hard. Not even mentioning the fact that you are recovering from your birth as well. No matter what birth you have, even if it's really easy or really difficult, you still have that recovery period. I literally remember when I first had him, I said to my mum, I cannot do this. I don't think I was built for this. I can't be a mum. And it's so heartbreaking to look back at that period of my life because I absolutely love Alfie now and I loved him then. It's such a reality shock. You're not ready for it. You could be prepared, read all the books, read every single internet article, and you still would have no idea what you're doing. And it's just the most daunting experience. So to prime, I'm just going to use my Wet n Wild primer serum. I don't use this that often, but I don't want to waste my other one because I'm not actually going anywhere today. But yeah, so I think you've got to see parenting as like, especially as a new mum, as almost like a new job. When you think about it, if you get a new job, no matter whether you have experience in that job or not, that job is still going to be new to you. So for example, if you've worked in a bar and then you go and work in a pub, it will be the same sort of thing but a different layout. There'll be different rules, there'll be different things you have to do, different ways to do things. So it's the same as, say, you choose to be a childcare practitioner. You learn a lot about children and babies or whatever department you're working in, but then when it comes to your own, you can still be just as clueless because it's a whole different thing entirely, even though you have that experience in it. So you might be able to change a nappy and you may be able to make a bottle or something like that, but maybe your child has different needs to the children that you've been working with. It's all just a guessing game until you figure out your baby yourself. I'm going to use a mix of these Ordinary foundations. I think this one is 2.1Y and this one is 2.0YG. So yeah, definitely for me it was learning Alfie and his particular needs and just anything to do with basic parenting. I had no idea, and like I say, you can sit for hours and research and you're still not gonna know. I absolutely love the age that he's at now. I just think he's such a little sweetheart. And I remember speaking to one of my cousins when I first had Alfie and I was telling her that I was struggling, and she said to me, just wait until that first smile, that real smile, not the milk junk smile, but when they are actually smiling at you and giggling at you. She said, just wait, and it is the most magical thing and it makes absolutely everything you have been through so worth it. I've never forgotten that she said that because I waited for so long for that smile, and when I got it, it was like her words just became reality. It's unrealistic to go into parenting and know exactly what you're doing, even if you've done it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times before. So my friend asked, what's your most embarrassing memory from growing up? My most embarrassing memory? I mean, to be honest, I have quite a few. Remember this so vividly. I was like, what, 12, 13? And me and my friends at the time, I am no longer friends with them anymore, thank God, because it's actually quite mean. But yeah, I was 12, 13 and I was going to the cinema with my friends and we were going to watch a horror movie. It wasn't like a proper scary horror movie, but I think you had to be 12 or over, you know, like the PG 12, 15 over and stuff like that. I think you had to be 12 or 15, I can't exactly remember. If you know me, you know that I am a very petite lady. I'm not the smallest ever, but I'm definitely not tall or even average. I'm probably below average on the shorter scale, basically. At the time, I think I was probably like 4'9" or something. And we were going to the cinema in town to watch this scary movie, and they asked us for ID. And the reason they asked us for ID was because of me, because I was so short and everybody else went in, and then they asked me specifically for ID. And I was like, obviously I don't have any, I'm a 12-year-old girl. No one has a provisional license at 12, and I'm not about to be carrying my passport around with me everywhere. So obviously I didn't have any, and we weren't allowed into this movie. And all of my friends were fuming at me. I mean, livid, because we had to go and see this other movie, and it was like a Transformers one or like a Marvel one, and at the time none of us were into that. So everyone was like really angry with me, and I remember just feeling like absolute shit over it, because I was like, I can't help my height and I can't help how young I look. I've always looked young. I even look young now. I do not look 22. I'm going to use my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in Light Ivory to brighten up under my eyes, chin and T-zone. So yeah, we went and saw this other movie, and about 10 minutes in, everyone was like, this is crap. So we left, and we were going with like, I think it was one girl and a couple of boys maybe. And the boys were so horrible to me afterwards. I just remember them saying stuff like, oh, we didn't get let in because of you, because you're so childish, you're such a baby. And I literally cried, because I was like, it's not my fault. It wasn't my fault, but I was so embarrassed, and I was so embarrassed from my friends and from the people working there, and I just remember how horrible I felt. So I was as equally embarrassed as I was upset. How do you start weaning? I am nervous. So I was so nervous to start weaning, honestly. I was trying to put it off, but the closer that it got to Alfie being 6 months, I was like, oh my god, I just need to do it. And it's the same with everything. You just have to do it. You don't have a choice. Your child has to eat in the end. So you can either go down the puree route or baby-led weaning like I did, or you can do a little bit of both. I would say your best bet, if you're really nervous, is at around 5.5 months or as close to 6 months as you can get it. Trial them with a puree, see how they react. That's what I did. Puree was not Alfie's best friend, but it put my mind at ease. It got him to experiment with a few different flavours and textures, and it eases you into it as much as it eases them into it. I think these days we've just got such into the habit of, oh, baby-led weaning is the best and they're least fussy, and it just helps them so much later on down the line. And yeah, I do agree with those statements, because it has worked for us really well, but I don't think I would have got anywhere near where I am with baby-led weaning if I didn't start puree first. I'm just going to use my Wet n Wild Photo Focus loose powder and my Trigwell powder puff to set my under eyes and other parts of my face. So yeah, I would say my best tips are, do your research. So I sat for an entire day and researched everything there was to know about baby-led weaning, what would happen if they choked, what kind of foods are best to start with, what the food should look like, as in the consistency of it, how squishy it would be, you name it. I researched everything. So I first started Alfie off with broccoli, and I really overcooked it to the point that it would like fall apart in my hands. I went as far as to have a CPR, like an infant CPR video, up on my iPad on the side. So if anything was to go wrong, I knew that I would be able to resolve it. In my experience, Alfie has never choked on anything. The saying, loud and red go ahead, silent and blue they need you, is so crucial, because the amount of times Alfie has gagged and my mum has been like, oh my god, panicking, and I've been like, don't worry, it's fine. You just have to sit on your hands and let them go ahead with it. Give them a lot of reassurance, like, I'm so proud of you, well done, good boy or girl or whoever. And yeah, you've just got to be persistent with it, educated, and most of all, keep calm, because if you come off like you are panicked. You are going to reflect your emotion on your baby, and then they're going to panic, and then that is an increased risk of choking in itself. It all sounds very, very complicated, but once you get stuck into it and you really experiment with so many different things, and you give them a lot of finger food and textures to play with, even if they just throw it on the floor, that is progress in itself. So definitely do your research, get up that infant CPR video on your side and go ahead with it, because honestly there is just as much risk with choking on purees than there is with choking with solid food, so just go for it. Gonna use my Revolution foundation stick in the shade F13, pop that on the back of my hand, work my brush into it and apply that as my cream contour. My son's dad is back and forth with wanting to co-parent. How is co-parenting for you? I've spoke about this before and I will speak about it again. Co-parenting is not, and more often than not will not be, easy at all. Especially at the beginning when you're both just trying to work out your boundaries and what is right for your child. You're not going to agree on everything. It is just a given that you're going to have differing opinions. When you say your son's dad is back and forth with wanting to co-parent, do you mean as in he wants to be involved or he wants to work with you? Either way, I'm going to use my Hydra Bright Cream Blush by Revolution as my cream blush. So if he is back and forth with wanting to work with you, I would say you need to find a middle ground and try and understand where he's coming from, and he needs to understand where you're coming from. If it is coming from a place that is genuinely unreasonable, is not putting your child in danger or anything, then just do it. There were a few things that Alfie's dad didn't really want me to do, and I did them anyway because there was no reason not to. And there's probably been quite a few things that he has done that I have said not to, but he may not have just told me. I'm going to use my number 17 Light Reflect Liquid Highlighter in the shade Champagne. So even if he isn't working with you, just work with him. As long as you are doing your best to try and find the best way of parenting for your child, that is all that matters. If they are not working with you, that is simply their problem, and there is nothing you can do about it apart from try. If they are back and forth with co-parenting, as in 1 minute he's in your son's life and the next he's not, then that requires a serious conversation, because that is unfair on your child, and that is something that I personally would not stand for. I'm going to use my Hoola bronzer on top of my cream contour. At the end of the day, if he is really not complying, then I think you need to just co-parent your child in a way that you think is right, and when your son gets older, he can make a decision for himself and form an opinion of his dad himself based on his dad's actions, and that is nobody else's problem apart from your baby's dad. Sometimes you just can't change the way that somebody else behaves, and that's not down to you. You just need to let them show your child who they really are. And yeah, I think as he gets older, he will obviously just form an opinion on his dad based on his dad's own actions. Have you started getting Alfie's Christmas presents? Love you both lots and lots. Yes, we have actually started Alfie's Christmas present collection. Also, love you too. So I started Alfie's Christmas collection quite a while ago now. I just started picking up the odd bit here and there, and obviously being conscious that Alfie is going to be coming up to 12 months going on to Christmas, picking up stuff that is more for 12 months plus and stuff that is age appropriate, you know. But yeah, I have a huge stash under his cot and he keeps noticing them and trying to pull them out, and I'm like, no, they're your Christmas presents. I haven't gone completely wild with them because he's not even going to be 1 yet. He's not going to know what the hell is going on. But I think where he's got me and his dad's family, he's going to have quite a lot split between us, so I don't want to go too mad and then him end up with tons. But I am honestly so excited for Christmas. I've never been more excited for Christmas now that I have Alfie, because it's just like reliving your childhood all over again, and there is nothing quite as magical as when you were a child at Christmas. So for an extra bit of highlight, I'm just going to use this Revolution highlight in the shade Just My Type. I bought this a very long time ago, so I don't even know whether they still do it, but oh well. How did you cope with Alfie when he first started teething? My little girl has just started. Oh my god, teething. Teething is honestly the bane of my life. Of course, I feel so bad for Alfie. That's the main reason why I hate it. But aside from that, those night times are something else. It's like you have a newborn all over again. Bottom line is, there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. You just have to use lots of teething gel, teething granules. I used to make Alfie's lunch with cucumber sticks a lot because it's very soothing for his gums and his teeth coming through. For my eyeshadow, I'm going to use the Too Faced Natural Lust palette. I absolutely love this palette. It's so beautiful. You get so many lovely colours. My friend very kindly got me this for my birthday. I'm going to be using that. I don't really know what colours I'm going to use yet. Maybe go for something brown, smoky. But yeah, I think you just need to give a lot of cuddles, reassurance, love. I mean, like I said, there's literally nothing you can do in that situation. You just have to do absolutely everything that you can to comfort them. For me, it was very on and off. Like, one night Alfie would be awake screaming, the next night he would be sound asleep. It literally just depended on when his teeth were coming through. I'm pretty sure once they're through, it's not as bad. It's just when they're about to cut, that's when it's the most painful for them. I could be wrong on that, I don't know, so don't quote me, but that is what I've heard. I always do both my eyes together with eyeshadow, and everyone always says that's really weird because apparently you're supposed to do one eye at a time or something, but I always do both. It's one job as a mum you really dread, and mine is cleaning up after meal times. I feel you. I really feel you. I would probably say that the job that I dread the most is putting Alfie's clothes away and sorting out his clothes, because it is just such a jarring job to go through their wardrobe every month in my case. Like, they grow so quickly, and then by the time that you've bought the next lot of clothes, they're out of them in like a month, and then their wardrobe is just full of clothes that don't fit them, and you've got to sort that out, and oh my god, I absolutely dread it. I'm due to do that job now at the moment actually, and I just cannot be bothered. I'm holding back from it so much. What is your favourite memory with Alfie so far? Oh my god, there are too many. There was absolutely nothing like being handed him for the first time. It was just something else. I was crying my eyes out. I remember seeing that he had hair and I was like, oh my god, he's got loads of dark hair. That was just an unmatched moment for me. But I think, I can't pinpoint exactly when, but when he started laughing, as I was saying earlier, it was just such a lovely thing. I remember tickling him and he was like really laughing, and I was like, oh my god, he's laughing at me. Yeah, it just made everything so worth it. There are honestly too many. I couldn't even get into them. I'd be here forever. Giving up breastfeeding anytime soon. I breastfeed my 9-month-old, sorry. No. So I originally said I was going to breastfeed for maybe 6 months. I said I was going to put him on follow-on after that. And then recently it's a year, or before he gets to a year. I'm going to use my Maybelline Sky High mascara. This is my absolute favourite. If you've been following me for a while, you will know that I love this stuff, even on its own, but I am probably going to put lashes on today because this is very glam. It's giving prom makeup 2016. So yeah, basically I said I wasn't going to breastfeed him for as long as I have already. I've been breastfeeding him for almost 9 months. And then I did mention on my TikTok a little while ago that I didn't think I was going to be able to breastfeed him for over a year because he's going to be staying at his dad's just after he's 1, I reckon. We really want to ease him into staying there from a young age, because the last thing I want is him to get to like 3, me send him there and then him have a total meltdown. I want him to be used to going to his dad's. So with that in mind, I was like, no, I can't breastfeed him because I can't just detach my boobs and put it in a suitcase, you know. Suitcase? He's only going down the road. Bag. But then someone on my TikTok was like, you can still breastfeed him because your body will level out your supply depending on when he needs it. And I completely forgot that my mum actually breastfed me and my brother until we were like 2, but she would only breastfeed us in the night from 6 months, I think it was. So I suppose I could pretty much just do that. So that's my new thought process, that I'm gonna carry on feeding him for as long as I can until he doesn't want it anymore. And I don't know, we'll just have to see. I'm definitely not done with our breastfeeding journey yet though. I literally love it. It's the best thing I have ever done. I'm going to use these lashes from Boots. They are in the style Orla. Let me just show you, I've got a fresh pack actually. They are these ones. They are £4. They are literally so affordable. They are just Boots' own brand and I love them. I haven't done lashes in so long, I don't even know where my lash glue is. Breastfeeding is such a journey, and I think people don't realise how much of a journey it really is. It is the most emotionally, mentally draining and damaging thing at the start when they're cluster feeding. It is just something else, and there is no one else there to help you. If you're the only one who can feed your child, then how is anyone else going to help unless you express and put it in a bottle, which I didn't do at the beginning. Hold on, I cannot talk while I'm doing these lashes. Let me just do these off camera a sec. And then for my liner, I'm just going to use this NYX Suede matte lip liner in the shade London. But yeah, people don't realise how much of a journey breastfeeding is, but once you get into it, it's just the most incredible bond, and I just feel so happy that I carried on with it. I remember there was a point where I was sat on my mum's bed and I was like, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to formula. And she was like, you know, do whatever makes you happy, and by all means, if you're struggling, don't let it affect your mental health. Just do what's best for you and your child. But in my circumstance, I was so desperate to carry on, and it was just amazing. I felt so good that I carried on with it, and now we're here 9 months later and we're still doing it, and I don't know, I'm just kind of proud of myself, you know. And lastly, for my gloss, I'm going to use this NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. So this is my makeup all finished, and that is all the questions I'm going to be answering in today's video. I don't know when this turned into like a full-on, full glam, full beat makeup. I mean, when I was saying I was going full beat, I didn't quite mean this. Not gonna lie, this is probably all gonna come straight off afterwards because it's just not me. I don't really want to sit here in a full face of makeup doing absolutely nothing. Like, I've got to go to the shop in a minute and I don't really want to be looking like I am going to a party or going clubbing. Anyways, as always, thank you so much for watching this video and watching to the end. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions. I really love filming these. I feel like they're a little bit different from my normal daily kind of vlog. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video here and I will catch you in a new video on Saturday. Bye!